Conspiracy number 2. Wilt Chamberlain did not score 100 points in that game against the Knicks.
Something bad is about to happen to me. I don't know what, but I feel it coming.
Tell me about your golfing.
Terrell Davis? How do you say it?
30? I thought it was Terrell.
Oh, we got to go Steph.
Oh, duh. I was like, who wears number 30 to play good?
Golf game has been a lot more consistent. I've been shooting low 90s, high 80s.
Let's go.
So I'm back to getting off the tee box. And I didn't tell you about this. This was on Saturday. I hit a 336-yard drive.
Woo!
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I probably carried it 270.
Mm-hmm.
Just completely rocketed it. Just lasered right down the pipe. And it was this hole that's kind of like dogleg right. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend with me who has proof of how long this was. It just hit this hill and started rolling downhill.
Let's go.
And I got down there. I was like, dude, you mind like clocking that on your little app, like figuring out how far that was? I was like, it was like right next to the green on a par 4.
Wow.
I still got part of the hole. But 336-yard drive. I was pretty pumped. So
I've
been getting off the tee box, brother. That's helping. And now that I was hitting my irons perfectly, now I'm hooking my irons. But
it's always something.
That's how it works.
Casey DeChambeau right there.
Yeah, but got a friend coming in town this weekend, Mr. Gabe Brown. So
okay.
we're going to play a foursome Friday. And then one of my college roommates, I actually ran into his dad in Golf Galaxy like 3 weeks ago.
Let's go.
He was like, hey, you want to play around sometime? I was like, absolutely. So we're going to play Saturday.
Let's go. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't golf at all this week. So I'm back to work. I was a fool. I didn't nap near enough this summer. Idiot. I'm so tired at 2 p.m.
Are you already back to work?
Yeah, we got 2 weeks of in-service.
Like school's back in session?
No, that's it's not back for 2 weeks. So we had first day back, kind of like get your room set up a little bit, and then we had convocation today, and it was a drumming. It was the speaker was like a drumming group that did motivational talks. It was very, very interesting. Innovate, elevate, connect with your students, elevate, celebrate. Yeah, stuff like that. Now, what I liked and what my kids liked is they gave us drumsticks. So we were tapping along with them. Because my only problem with convocations or 3-hour sessions of anything is I have a hard time sitting still and listening for more than like 45 minutes. Like that should be the cap of most talks is 45 minutes, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree.
Except for podcasts about sports. Those can go up to an hour.
Yeah, we can do it. So, we make the rules here.
Dang on right.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? But it's
that's right. Mm-hmm. So what do we got on the show today? I got you this time.
We're going to talk about a lot of basketball at the front. I want to talk about the men's 5-on-5. You want to hear you talk about Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a little 3v3. That's some sports conspiracies. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And then NFL camp update. I don't know what that is, but
just some stuff around the NFL as we're getting ready gradually to football.
It's gonna happen.
Well, let's start with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and the USA men's basketball team. How was that game?
Here's obviously KD came in and was flawless after not playing in any exhibition games. He was like 8 for 9, had 23 points. One of my thoughts that I had that I wanted to talk to you about was a potential 4 out of the starting 5. 4 of the best players right now are KD, Booker, LeBron, and AD.
So strange.
Those 4 are the best players on most likely the best team in the Olympics. How come that doesn't necessarily translate to NBA success. Like, I get it. All these guys are also like, there's 68 other NBA players not on the USA team in this Olympics, which is crazy. They're all in the league as well. But you would think that would mean that they're also dominating in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. But they're just not translating. It's translating to mid seeds or low seeds in the West.
It's crazy. And I don't know what it is, but it's fun to see them playing well. And KD's so smooth, man.
Gosh.
He's just buttery.
Did you see him talking to the people on? He was like talking back and forth with the guy on Twitter because it was, what did he say?
The Jessica thing?
Yeah, maybe. Or was the guy who wanted to change NBA rules to be more like international rules? And he's like, nah, it ain't going to work.
I didn't
What's
see
the
that.
Jessica thing?
I'm trying Jessica. That was, so it's like a famous old tweet. It was by, not Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum. He had like posted something on Twitter and this lady like commented on it. She was like, how about you win a playoff game first? And he retweeted it and he was like, I'm trying, Jessica. And then there was like a picture recently of KD getting dunked on by Ant. And he just posted it. He was like, I'm trying, Jessica, like a callback.
Golly.
It was probably like 7 or 8 years ago. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, man, they're looking a little better. JT didn't play.
What's up with that? I have a theory, but
my theory is number one. I think he might have been hurt.
Okay.
Or kind of like needed to rest a game. My second theory is Steve Kerr is a killer and doesn't care, and he's going to win at all costs, which I think is the real thing. And he knows how to politicize and communicate to the media in a way to kind of smooth things over.
Yeah, he's a smooth talker.
That
was just my bad. And he's over there.
But
sit down.
That dude's a winner. He may have seen something and been like, hey, this is not, I don't like the way his energy and stuff's flowing in practice and in the exhibition games. I'm going to sit him again.
Yeah.
See if it takes him off.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to argue with how well KD's playing. You know what I mean? Like, who are you going to bench?
Yeah.
You're right about Embiid, though. Embiid shouldn't be on the floor anymore.
He looks... there was a couple plays where he just, like, gave up an easy layup, or, like, he had a turnover, like, on an inbound under the basket. Just kind of, like, lazy stuff. And you're like, dude, that's why you're not in the finals. Like,
right.
You're such a good player, but those are, like, 90 to 100% plays, just the effort stuff.
Yeah.
You have to give that extra effort and try.
It's like he's this far. He's just not quite there.
Just a little sloppy to where it's just not going to work. But they're still playing him. He still had 10 minutes or something like that.
Ooh. So my theory, my meta theory is Steve Kerr is trying to break up the Celtics before they become a dynasty.
Ooh.
That's why he left Jaylen Brown off the team and took Derek White, and then's giving Derek White minutes instead of Jason Tatum. I think he's going full psycho Michael Jordan.
I like your theory better. That's a pretty good theory. We're going to
kill it before it starts.
We're going to flip that for sure. Steve Kerr kills the Celtics.
Dang right. Well, so the men's team is favored by 30 tomorrow against South Sudan. I'm not going to take... I'll take South Sudan and the points there. I don't think it's going to be a 1-point game, but I do think they're going to put their foot down a little bit. But I don't think 30 is... Because, I mean, they beat a pretty good Puerto Rican team.
Yeah.
South Sudan.
They were also... I mean, it came down to the last bucket in the exhibition game. Understand, like, Kerr's working through... He's trying to figure out who plays with who. They're not trying, but still.
Right.
I mean, close game's a close game.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I will tell you my favorite player. I watched not very much of their game. They have a 17-year-old on their roster. Have you heard about this kid?
No, tell me about him.
So he's going to... I'm trying to find his name. I think he's going to play at Duke next year. He's 7'2". He's projected to go second behind Cooper Flagg in the 25 draft. And really? I had never heard of this guy.
Okay.
And so he checked in the game. I watched a little bit of the Puerto Rico game. Dang it! Let me find his name real quick. South Sudan player, dude. I'm not going to try to say his name. Come on, Maluk. South Sudan.
With that.
Best ever prospect. The 17-year-old has committed to Duke next season. Yeah, so he wears number 6. Keep an eye out for that guy because allegedly, I think one of his trainers also trained Embiid when he was in college, and he said this kid is 10 years ahead of where Embiid was in college.
Yeah, because Embiid just kind of started in high school, more or less. So, yeah, that's crazy that he would be that good.
Basketball goal in high school. You seen that clip of him before?
I just know he, Joel Embiid apparently learned how to shoot by searching white person 3-pointer on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. JJ Redick.
He's like, they have perfect form.
What's the big story with their team? What have you fallen in love with it a little bit?
Yeah, so it could be a cool, you know how Cool Runnings, I don't know if you liked that movie from the 90s. I was a big fan.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like a Disney movie in the making. So there was a huge civil war. South Sudan won its independence, and then it was established. The South Sudan's national team, I think the same year, 2011, it was established, and then 2013, it became a FIBA member. Mm-hmm. Now, they hadn't really done much until, you remember Luol Deng?
Absolutely.
So Luol Deng became the president in 2020 of the Basketball Federation and was briefly named coach. Now, he named the Royal Ivy the coach in 2021 at Afro Basketball 21, and South Sudan made its debut at a major tournament and actually reached the round of 16 in that tournament.
Yeah.
And now they're playing in the Olympics. They got their first Olympic win. I don't know if you saw after the game, but like they were crying. It was huge and emotional. It was just amazing of, how much the country's been through. So then I'm reading about this. Guess how many indoor basketball facilities are in South Sudan?
I actually saw this stat.
0.
Goose egg. What's
0? Yeah.
It said they've been practicing in other countries.
Yeah, they've gone to Rwanda. He said, let's see, who was it? I can't remember.
He's right there, close, right?
Yes, but then I can't remember if Ivy or I can't tell from this article if Ivy or Dang said this, but he says, just imagine being on an 18 or 19-hour flight just to get to training camp, and then to get to training camp, and we have 25 guys on one court. And so apparently there's like this video out there of them playing basketball, and there's like a bunch of middle schoolers in the background playing. Like they're going to different countries, going different places to practice because there's no indoor courts in South Sudan, and they're just making it work. And man, and I tell you what, they almost got the U.S.
Dude.
They beat a pretty good Puerto Rico team. If they get one more win, hopefully not. I mean, I don't think they'll beat the U.S., but they should qualify for the next round.
I have them picked in the final 8.
Oh, really?
For the elimination round. I got Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, the U.S., and then I think the third place teams that get in, which this may change now. I had Greece with Giannis, and then South Sudan.
Wow.
2 third place teams get in.
Okay.
It's all the top 2 teams in the 3 groups, and then the 2 best third place teams get in.
Gotcha.
So I think they could be, because they beat Puerto Rico, it could be Serbia, the U.S., and South Sudan out of Group C, which I think is probably going to happen.
Who does Serbia have?
The players? They have...
he's Serbian.
Yeah, and then they have
okay, yeah, they'll probably... Yeah.
But the teams that are stacked, Canada has like 7 or 8 NBA players. France has 4 or 5, including Wemby.
Yep.
So...
Teams to watch. South Sudan, really cool story. Hope they make it to obviously I hope they make it to the medal round. And I might be a bad American, but like, I wouldn't be too upset if they won tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'd be like, because I think the U.S. will come back and just stomp Puerto Rico.
It would be great for a movie, but
That's what I'm saying.
I want USA to win. So
of course, I just wouldn't be. I would be more upset if the U.S. lost to Serbia. I'd be real upset if they lost to Canada. But like, if they were to lose to South Sudan, would I be super mad? I think the story would be cool.
It would be kind of heartwarming. So,
yeah.
And yeah, what I read was Ding has also been like financing the team.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
Which thought of something that's hilarious is the Lakers have been writing down his salary for like 10 years. Like the Lakers are essentially paying for South Sudan.
Let's go.
It'd be even funnier if they beat the USA. Because
who's making more money, South Sudan or Bronny?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So cool story. Love it. It could definitely be. It's giving Cool Runnings vibes.
I dig it.
The rhythm.
Feel the ride.
Yeah, they could do it.
I've been following other sports. I've been following kind of closely is a strong word because I have to work now like a fool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the women's gymnastics team. So they struck gold in the team event.
Find out.
That's right. Don't you dare talk to me. Yeah. And then they have the two women in the final. They have, I think it's Suni Lee and Simone Biles. So they, so with Simone, she got a lot of flack last Olympics for dropping out. I don't know if you remember that.
When she got the yips?
Yeah, the yips. They call them the twisties, apparently, in gymnastics. But yeah, so she, and I didn't, because what she was trying to do was apparently like above and beyond what anyone else was ever tried to do. Because she knew she could easily win gold.
Yeah.
So she was trying to have like a legendary type performance. And so some people that I was reading were getting upset, like, oh, she should just tone it down and won the gold. But I'm like, no, push for greatness.
Yeah.
If you fall down, that's okay.
Yeah, why not?
So much love, Simone Biles. And then
they're going to win. She'll win.
You think she'll win the gold? Because Suni Lee won the gold last time around. And then, do you know what happened to her?
I don't remember her as much.
So she won the gold in the all-around last time. And then she was like playing. I don't know what you would say. She was at Auburn doing gymnastics. And apparently she woke up one day with her eyes swollen shut.
Ooh.
And then she gained like 40 pounds in 2 weeks. And she turns out they rushed her to the hospital.
Really?
And she had some sort of incurable kidney disease. And so she had to drop out of school and just stay in the hospital for weeks. And then, so then finally
you got to stay away from poison ivy.
That stuff really gets you. No, some sort of incurable kidney disease. And so then she had to like retrain everything because then, she lost all the weight, but then she also, while she was in the hospital, lost all the muscle.
Dang.
And then, so then she requalified for the team, and here she is trying to win a second gold. Man, some people are just way more resilient than I am. That's the lesson of the story.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, it's been fun.
Yeah. I'm going to take a 5th year and relax.
Yeah, we're gonna just stock up at the
she's back
at the cafe. Mm-hmm. So bad love. And then, did you watch any 3-on-3 basketball?
Had a little bit of it today at work. We were losing, and one of my coworkers, I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in watching Jimmer Fredette." And
yeah,
a little bit about who he was. He was BYU, right?
BYU
had a good run, a legend over in China, and then he had a couple stints in the NBA. But the coworker asked me a good question. He was like, why aren't these like NBA players who didn't make the team, the 5-on-5 team? Why don't they go play this? Or like some of the guys from the Big Three, like Jeff Teague.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I was like, I have no clue how they chose the team. But the most interesting part of it was once the other team scores, the team who gets the ball, did you watch any of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They like have to go check the ball back behind the three, like take it off the glass and then go take it back. Did you see that?
I like it. It's interesting because if it's a half court, how do you get the ball? You know what I mean? It was an interesting way to do it.
You don't like reset it and like check ball up. It's just like bounce off the glass, throw it back there. Next possession starts.
Yep. I think they should do make it take it, but that's just me.
Yeah. And make it take it after 3 for sure.
So go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is it 1 game to 21? Because I only saw like half of one game.
A lot of the men's scores were 21. So that's where, then there was a 22, which I assume ended on a 3-pointer. But yeah, in the pool round today, Latvia over Lithuania, 21-14, France over Poland, 21-19, 21-16, Netherlands over China, then Serbia, 22-14. So that's the gist of it. But yeah, it's a cool event.
What do you like about it?
Well, I like it. It was super fast. So I like that. It was like, boom, basket, out there, pick and roll, move, and a lot of movement, a whole lot of movement. So I liked those two things about it a lot. Because the one complaint I have, and NBA is a long season, so it's not even that big of a complaint, is I don't love isolation basketball. Like James Harden's a great player, but I couldn't stand his game. Just dribble the ball out. You know what I mean? Yeah. We know how you feel about James Harden.
Yeah.
So I like, even KD would play ISO ball for a while there, and I was like, oh, come on, man, let's move. So I like the movement, the hectic nature, back screens, back and forth. I also, interestingly, so quick math, the 3-pointer is worth like 50% more in the NBA, and here it's worth double or 100% more. Yeah. So 3 versus 2 as a percentage versus 2 versus 1. So the 2-point shot is worth more than the 1-point shot by double. So if I'm moneyballing this thing, I'm just chunking 2s all day. But I don't know how the spacing works. Might be easier to see what I'm saying.
Is it? I do. I got you. Is it call your own fouls? That was the only thing that would have been
foul. Great. You shut your mouth.
That's a foul.
Man. Call it again. I'll show you a foul if you come in here again.
Come on, Jimmy.
So what I would like to see is I feel like there needs to be more trophies in the NBA. So I'm okay with the in-season tournament, but I think it should be different.
Okay.
I think each team should have a 3-on-3 team. Think about it.
This is Ice Cube's chance to expand his league.
Yeah, so you have the Lakers 3-on-3, you have the Spurs 3-on-3 team.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Different players, you know what I mean? Not on the roster. Maybe you get like the guys that you can bring up, like you have a taxi squad or something like that. You have the Knicks 3-on-3 team, and then if they win the title, you raise a banner.
And that would be something kind of fun to do, like instead of, not in lieu of, but with All-Star break weekend.
Have the finals then?
Yeah, you could be like the 3-on-3 final there. You don't want to do too much in one weekend because like the dunk contest is kind of going downhill.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of it this year. I mean, the All-Star game's trash.
Everybody shoots threes now. Yeah, and the All-Star game sucks. It's like, hey, make it. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. That'd be fun. Imagine Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Ginobili as the.
Yeah.
That'd be the classic Spurs 3.
Oh. Because was it NBA Live or NBA Jam? There was something that had a 3-on-3 mode.
NBA Street.
NBA Street, okay.
Yeah, NBA Street volume. I was thinking about that the other day, actually. The best player on there was Stretch. You could just sit under the basket because you could turn goaltending. There was no goaltending.
Oh, just smack.
You could just sit there and fly up and catch a block and just get it going up court, baby.
Let's go. Wish that game come back.
NBA 3-on-3. Adam Silver, think about it.
Think about it.
When you're shaving your head in the morning.
Lord, twice a day, probably, that guy. He's so clean shaven. I just had an idea. All right, so I'm going to run 3. I have 3 sports conspiracies that I've heard. I'm going to tell you, one, I do not believe. One, I could go either way.
Okay.
And one, I absolutely believe.
Now, are these new? Have I heard these before? Or are these going to be kind of like
one? I'm sure you've heard one.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay, so first one, conspiracy number 2. Wilt Chamberlain did not score 100 points in that game against the Knicks.
And what year was it? Do you remember the year?
I wrote it. Oh yeah, 1962, March 2nd. So here's the reason behind it. So the Warriors win. What's that?
I said there's not even that many days in March.
March 2nd? March 1962? Got me.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. All right. So here's the theory. The game ends 169 to 147. So a massive score, which is ridiculous. We've already seen with John Stockton's triple doubles, Michael Jordan steals, rebounds from Russ Westbrook and others, that scorekeeping can be real shaky sometimes.
Subjective.
Very subjective. So they were playing, the Philadelphia Warriors were actually like going all throughout Pennsylvania through that year. So they played that night in Hershey, Pennsylvania in front of only 4,000 people. So not a lot of people, no digital scoreboard, and you have just like one guy keeping track to know exactly how many points he had. Like P scores a lot of points, but no one ever really knows how many points does he have exactly. You know what I mean? Like who's scoring this besides the official scorekeeper? Probably nobody. And he had scored his other highest, by the way, 78, 73, 73, 72, and 70. Okay, so you're asking for him to increase by 22 points, which is roughly a 25% increase of his ever high.
I mean, you got to think about Lucas scored 73.
Yes, but he's also scored other points.
60.
73. Yeah, I was going to say he had 73, and I thought he had some others. He had a 60 and a 53. Yes, I mean, like there's outliers. Don't get me wrong. But let's continue the theory here. Okay, so that night, he scores 36 of 63 for 57% shooting. He's a foot taller than everyone. That's totally fine. But here's the kicker for me. He shoots 28 of 32 for nearly 90% from the line. The dude was a 50% career free throw shooter. When asked about this, he said he shot it underhand that night. And only that night. He decided scoring 100 points was, I don't want to do that ever again, despite shooting 90%.
Yeah, so, I've heard that as well, that he shot underhand that.
Randy Scott, one night. The NBA was a second-hand league at the time, way behind baseball. It needed something. And 100 is a very convenient number. And all we have, we have some recordings, some audio, but we also just have kind of that picture of 100. So it's a little convenient. It's all just a little convenient.
It is. The world was so crazy back then. The 60s and 70s, it was literally the Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
Imagine back in the 1800s. But
wow.
I'm going to go with he did it.
Okay.
I think he did it. I think... What was the average scoring, though, back then? Like, for total points in a game? Because that feels like... Maybe if anything, I would think there would be a flaw with, like, they weren't keeping time very well. Or something along those lines. Like, I think it happened. There was 100 points scored. They're like, hey, he's at 100. But there might have been some other stuff going on.
Right.
Like, Randy, who's supposed to be running the clock, he's like, hey, dude, we're 15 minutes into the third quarter. And it's a 12-minute quarter. He just forgets the quarter's over, Right. There's a lot of that stuff going on back then. Yeah, it's okay, we'll just do 20 minutes for the fourth,
They were a very high scoring offense at the time. So I'm seeing a lot of 120s, a couple 130s, a 150, a 145, a 130 in overtime. But yeah, it seemed like the 167 was certainly a big outlier. Oh, sorry,
I don't think
169.
it's too far. But the picture is 100 is too perfect.
That's the only thing that gives me pause about it. If you said it was 103 or 97, you know what I mean? It's just a weird number. That's the one. So for those keeping score at home, that's the one that I'm a maybe on. Just because exactly 100 and the fact they changed his free throws for one game. Those are the two things that get me thinking. All right, so number 3, Argentina. Argentina was gifted the World Cup. It was rigged for them. And they were a very, very good team, a top 5 team in the world. They were ranked number 1, actually. So they didn't need a lot of help.
What year?
This last one, 2022 in Qatar. So let me start off this way. Qatar spent over $500 million in direct bribes to people in FIFA. Michael Platini's voters, he said, were decisive. Sepp Blatter talked about how the French changed their vote to Qatar, and then Qatar bought fighter jets from French for $14 billion later. So there's also these indirect bribes that came on from voting. Yeah. So it's real shady. And then, of course, the UEFA president was arrested in light of this, as were many others. So then you have billions of dollars of bribes. You have over 15,000 people, up to 15,000 people, immigrants who were basically trafficked and enslaved, died building the World Cup stadiums. So that's leading up to the World Cup. Huge negative press. You have human rights violations left and right. You have it moved to the winter. So like all the players kind of hate it. So then we get to the games. Argentina was given 5 penalties in this tournament, by far the most. 4 were very, very, very questionable. Okay. 1 was fine. And 1 I would like, for me, 3 were trash. 1 was like, okay. So first off, the group stage, they were in a super easy group with Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. They lose to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, like
they actually lose their lose their first game. So now they need to win against Poland, and they get a controversial penalty against Poland and win that game. Okay, so then round of 16 they get Australia, super easy game. They roll through that, no big deal. Round of 8 is a brutal game against the Netherlands. 18 cards in that game. Messi has a slap the ball down, yellow card. He should have gotten a yellow card. This does not result in a red card. A dirty challenge followed by, let me play that again. Dirty challenge, and then he goes and kicks it into the bench, starting a fight. That guy he gets a yellow card, and that's it. He does not get a red card for that, or not 2 yellows, which would have drastically changed the game. Messi slaps the ball out of the air at one point, which is an automatic yellow for everyone else. He does not get a yellow. When he gets his yellow later in the game, he should have been ejected. So they keep him in the game. There was a questionable penalty in that game. It was soft. I'd say like, okay, like that one of the bad penalties, fine. So they end up winning. Messi should have been ejected. That guy should have been ejected. They end up winning on penalties. The most egregious one is this one in Croatia in the semifinals. The first 30 minutes, Croatia is clearly the better team. Not saying they would have won because the game's changed. But clearly the better team is Croatia. And then, let's see here. You get this. Oh, hang on. Why is it not playing? There we go. Chips it. Goalie and him collide. And they called that a penalty.
Let's see.
So a shot, goalie and him collide, ball gets cleared out. That is never, ever called a penalty. In fact, when you do that, you get called for the foul as the attacker for running into the goalie. Because you shot your shot, you missed. They never give the penalty for that. They either play it on or they call you for the foul. Every time. It is a travesty. And so then once you get the lead, you're one of the best teams in the world. The tactics change drastically. It's like getting a 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown lead in football. Yeah. Once you're up, you can change the strategy. So they end up winning 2-3-0. I think 3-0 was the final. Croatia gets a red card. They're all distraught over that just trash penalty. And so every time they get a penalty, it's like for a 1-0 lead or a 2-0. Like it's early in the game for most of them to take a 1-0 lead, which drastically changed the tactics. And then versus France, I didn't get to pull this one, but it's Di Maria, who's like James Harden, diver, I love the man, but he's a diver.
Yeah.
He trips over his own feet, it looks like. The referee gives the penalty. They go to review. It sure looks like he trips over his own feet. They keep the penalty call. You're like, okay, so that gives them a 1-0 lead. France does storm back and tie the game. In the 86th minute, a guy clearly stomps on the Frenchman's foot in the box and no penalty given, no review given. And of course, then they win on penalties. Right. So then after the penalties, they win, which, that's a coin flip. You still have to win on penalties. Messi's given a royal robe, which is against the FIFA rules, by the Qatari emir. Mm-hmm. And so he's wearing this robe and hoisting the trophy. And everyone talks about how it's the greatest World Cup ever because Messi gets this happily ever after ending. And everyone forgets about the billions and billions of dollars of bribes. Everyone forgets about the 15,000 people that died. Everyone forgets about the 5 cheap penalties. We just move on with our happy little lives because our storybook ended so nicely. That's a conspiracy, I believe. I don't know if you could tell.
I couldn't, but I get it. Absolutely, I could. I'm going to agree. I think you made a good case for that one. I think but who benefits from that? I mean,
Qatar does. So Qatar gets everyone to say, wow, what a great World Cup. I cannot tell you, all the Messi fanboys and most of the neutrals were like, wow, that was the greatest World Cup ever.
It's also you forget entry for him to come play in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So and I mean, the dude made $170 million a year at Barcelona. He made huge money in PSG. So he is the most popular player on the planet, and he's less polarizing than others because he's very quiet and introverted. But yeah, I just think that there was so much there and there were a lot of people who were kind of like me who were like, I'm a little bit of a hater. Just I don't like the media perceptions and the storyline that goes along with it. But there were a lot of people that were like, that was not a penalty. Like, I know. That's trash. That's a trash call. And then no red cards against the Netherlands, which keeps them at even numbers. You know what I mean? Because they're about to go to extra time. If you're down a man at extra time, you got to play 30 minutes down a man. Like, you might hold, but your legs are pretty gone at that point. So I just think,
I like it. I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
So I give no credit for Messi for winning a World Cup. You will never hear me say like he's a World Cup champion. At least I know it happened, and I hate it.
It's tough.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
So those are my sports conspiracies. So I believe that Argentina was rigged, or like I think they were helped, and they were a great team. So you didn't need a lot of help. You just needed little things like a penalty goal every freaking game.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Johnson, I think, has AIDS. Pretty sure he has. I'm pretty sure that's right. And then I'm like, it's like 50-50 whether Wilt scored 100 or not.
Yeah, that might be the one I'm questioning the most. Or maybe there was something was off.
The free throws are the one that gets me. The free throws.
That's crazy.
You shoot 90%.
He said I shot underhand.
I think I read that one time. Let's see here, Wilt.
The first thing I thought about was Giannis, who's not a great free throw shooter, but he also went 17-18 in Game 6 of the finals. It can happen. You can have it all night. You can have an out-of-body experience. But to change your form, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, so I read this. He said he thought he later switched it back to overhand because even though it dropped his percentage because he thought it looked stupid. And so Shaq said the same thing too.
What was the other thing about
Rick Barry? Was it Rick Barry? Who shot it underhanded? Who's the guy?
Had like 20,000 women or something like that.
That was his thing, yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, so Rick Barry shot 90% underhanded, and apparently one time he asked Shaq if he wanted to teach him, and Shaq's like, "No, I can't handle that. I'd look like an idiot."
Didn't his son do that as well?
Yeah, and his son shot like 97% too. I shoot like last time I did, I shot 80%, like 8 out of 10 shooting granny style.
It's like cornhole. I guess you can figure it out. Yeah, you can get a rhythm down.
It's more because it has more backspin. You get shooter's touch a little better.
Yeah, I mean it's like the way Steph shoots and Dame. The ball rolls off their fingers.
Gooseneck.
Swisher house.
Swish.
What we got on the league, bro? NFL.
Well, I'm excited because camp's starting up. This is it's the time of the year when I love football, so I'm just so happy. I know. That's the worst time of the year because you got to wait 4 weeks and just be like, oh, come on, or 3 weeks now.
They don't play anymore. So
yeah, they don't play the starters and they just roll out the first week. No, the camp updates I wanted to talk about was there's two of them. Tua got paid $55 a year.
Did they give him the extension?
Yes. So he's getting 4 years, $212 million, 167 guarantee, $53.1 million a year. Now he's behind Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. That's it. And
I'm just thinking about if it was a good pick or not.
I don't think so. I think
it's risky with him. He's really good, and then the league it's so hard to find a good quarterback. But that goes back to your theory. If I were them, I would have gone after Dak at a medium rate.
There's no medium rate for Dak.
There is no medium rate for Dak. Yeah,
he's going to get his.
So how many years is it?
4. They're all doing 4-year deals because I guess that lines up with the cap. So 4, and then the other one was Jordan Love, who's played 8 games really well. He started off poorly, and then he played 8 games well, but it was time for him to get paid. So he's getting a $55 million a year deal. A record-setting $75 million signing bonus. 4 years, $220 million. So this is what drives me crazy about the Cowboys is they keep waiting. Like, they don't believe in Dak. That's pretty obvious. But then it gets down to time to pay him, and they're like, well, I guess there's no one else. And so then they pay him top dollar. When you should line these things up to where you pay them like 2 years before their contract's over. That's what like you're supposed to do, like 2 years out. Yeah. And get the extension done. And that way you'd only have to pay him 45. Now when you sign him, you got to pay him 55 or 60. $10 million a year, that's a starter on your defense. That's a starting running back. And they just keep pushing the quarterback down the line. That makes no sense. It looks like they're gonna re-sign Lamb, but man, like,
so they're gonna sign Dak and Lamb?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Lamb's holding out, and he'll get his. Like, even if they get rid of Dak, whoever you get in needs to have a receiver. Like, there's just, unless you're an all-time great. I mean, look at Brock Purdy. He is not great, but he's got great receivers around him and a great coach and a great system.
They've already given him offers.
So, yeah, they've given Dak offers, and he's like, I'm good. He'll hit the open market if they don't get something. Man. And what I think will happen, I don't know, I kind of think they're going to let him walk. And I think he'll go to the Giants next year.
I just don't see that.
You don't see the Giants, or you don't see him walking?
I don't see it either. Because the reason why is because I think he's smart enough to know how big the brand is.
Right.
And the dude's, he got all these deals with these jet companies and
Sleep Number.
Every other commercial. And he's like, he's a very articulate guy. He could get on TV eventually. He's like, Jerry can get me on TV in 5 to 10 years.
We got Romo on TV, and he's terrible.
Yeah. He's Jerry knows how to pull the strings, and I think he's smart enough to see that and his impact on the league, and he's like, I'm going to stick it out here.
All right.
So, but
we'll see.
The Giants, would you think he'd be good on the Giants?
I think the Giants, because I think they're done with Daniel Jones, and I think they're done not having a quarterback, and he has destroyed them every year he's played them. So it's kind of like
they'd pay him.
They would pay him because they're like, this guy plays awesome. And he does play awesome against the Giants. He handles the Cowboys media, so Lord knows he could handle the New York media.
Oh, yeah.
And he's good enough to where like he'd get them in the playoffs. And I mean, if it's an actually well-run organization, unlike the Cowboys, he might actually be able to win something.
Yeah. Except for when they lost Saquon. But it's probably smart. I guess we'll see after all.
Business.
Running backs are tough, man.
They are.
Yes, best. No. So who's still hanging out there that needs a deal? Mainly just Dak.
Dak's a big one. Now, he's not holding out. CeeDee Lamb's holding out. Brandon Ayuk's holding in. Like, they're showing up to camp, but they're not doing anything. And I think Jamar Chase is holding in, too. Yeah, Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, the stars of the Bengals, are holding out. So that's kind of a big deal.
Now, Zeke's back on the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, Zeke is back on the Cowboys.
Love it.
Love him, but come on. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knows his role now.
Yeah, he's going to block, and he's going to catch a lot of short passes.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He's guy, is he?
There's no one else. There's Rico Dowdle and him.
Pollard's gone?
Pollard's gone to Tennessee.
Oh, my gosh. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I got to catch back up on all my NFL. I got to do some studying. I haven't looked at it since free agency or the draft.
No. Long way to go, but I love it. Steph Curry?
Give me your fantasy football plug before we sign off.
Fantasy football plug. I've got to learn something from you on how to post it. And then we're going to start posting it. Hopefully, depends on when this drops, but hopefully Thursday. And then, we'll preview. I'm giving some lessons on how to win your league, 30 minutes or less. And I'm going to do some previews on players I like, don't like, break down the divisions. It's mostly about value. And that's my main thing, value-based drafting. Like, this is where you want to target this guy. This guy's a steal here. Don't draft this guy, kind of thing.
And that's why we love the value meal, especially at McDonald's.
Can I get a McPick too?
Something bad is about to happen.